This program lineup is brought to you by Vision Express.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. New Jeep Gladiators up to $7,000 off now at Cars Plus. Named the best vehicle for adventure in 2024. Get your Jeep Gladiator today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Taiwan's president is wrapping up his first official state visit to the Marshall Islands. Next on his itinerary is Guam. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with the story coming up.
Calls for the resignation of South Korea's president are mounting after he declared martial law, then reversed it. A member of the island's Korean community is sharing her thoughts on the unfolding events in her home country.
Guam Police Department's youth program, Project U, is back this Christmas break. I'm Nevaeh Anderson with the story.
Hafa and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day.
Well, that's Taiwan's President Ching Delai wrapping up his tours in the Marshall Islands and in Tuvalu, marking his first official state visit since he took office earlier this year.
And tonight he heads to Guam for a one-day stop before moving on to Palau.
As reported, China has condemned his layovers on U.S. soil. Taiwan's defense military now reportedly monitoring Chinese military for signs of retaliation. Mitsuki Hirayama has the details.
Taiwan's President Ching Delai is expected to fly in overnight at the AB Wonpat International Airport. This as he continues his Pacific tour to 3 diplomatic allies. Ahead of his sensitive stop here in Guam, Lai is wrapping up his first official state visit at the Marshall Islands.
In Marjoro, Marshall Islands President Hilda Heine giving a warm welcome to President Lai at the airport. The tarmac surrounded by a large crowd filming the arrival as all eyes focus on Lai's tour, which has angered Beijing. During a live-streamed encounter, Lai finding common ground of a shared culture through the help of an interpreter.
Taiwan and the Marshall Islands share a traditional Austronesian culture, as well as the values of freedom and democracy. We are like family, and we are also close partners who support each other. Over many years of mutual support, we have provided one another the greatest possible backing.
The Pacific Island nation is the first country he visited since he took office in May, an honor for President Heine.
Your state visit also signifies a bilateral relationship that is mature, one that has withstood the test of time, and one that I'm confident will continue to grow and become stronger in the years to come.
China claims Taiwan as its territory and has been increasing military pressure against Taiwan to include 2 rounds of war games near the self-governing island just this year. China has condemned Lai's trip to Hawaii and filed a formal complaint to the U.S. And according to Reuters, Taiwan's defense ministry is monitoring Chinese military movements as they may launch new drills this weekend to coincide with Lai's trip. Meantime, Lai reportedly arrived in Tuvalu Wednesday morning, touring the Polynesian nation for the day before he flies out to Guam.
Sources say the president will be arriving on this tarmac on a private jet overnight. The following morning, he will meet with Governor Lilian Guerrero at the government house. Then he will meet with the local Taiwanese community at the Hyatt in Tumon. We will continue to bring you coverage on this unofficial but high-profile visit. For now, I'm Mitsuki Hirayama reporting for KUAM News.
For the first time since 1980, South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol declaring martial law, accusing the country's opposition of controlling the parliament, sympathizing with North Korea, and paralyzing the government with anti-state activities.
It was a short-lived one as he quickly lifted that decree. KUAM getting reaction from one member of the island's Korean community amid the stunning turn of events.
It's a decree made for the first time in nearly 50 years that sent shockwaves throughout South Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol declaring emergency martial law late Tuesday, then swiftly lifting that decision just hours later.
I was very shocked. and very anxiety about other people who went to travel, or my family or cousins and friends are there. But of course, it's sad news. And I have no comments about the political wave.
The whiplash of events felt on our shores, home to a vast Korean community, one that Ina Lee is part of. Lee reacting to the unfolding situation in her home country.
Lots of friends text me that their children went to Korea for vacation, for a tour, and they were worried, and what are they going to do? I said, don't bother that legislature area. Just go to tour shopping, will be safe. But if you try to go there and inquire about something, of course it's dangerous, but it's a safe place. Seoul, Korea is a very safe place to travel.
Yoon's speedy U-turn follows harsh backlash and South Korean lawmakers already voting to block his decree, one that reports say would have banned political activities, rallies, and protests, among other things. And after the short-lived declaration, protesters are now echoing calls from the opposition Democratic Party for Yoon's immediate resignation or face impeachment.
It's just my personal opinion that his term will be finished. We don't want no challenges. We don't want no one to get hurt. But let's move this on by peacefully.
To note, the South Korean president, who assumed office in 2022, received a 17% approval rate just last month. The Korea consulate office in Guam declined comment.
In related news, a California man is accused of illegally shipping firearms and military tech to North Korea to be used to attack the South.
Our affiliates at KNBC in Los Angeles has the details.
It was through the port of Long Beach that federal officials say the contraband was shipped. Firearms, ammunition, and other military equipment. The destination, North Korea. The purpose, to help the North attack the South.
Mr. Wen was working on behalf of the North Korean government to ship prohibited items on to North Korea. They used encrypted communication platforms to communicate with Mr. Wen. They asked him to obtain specific items, including firearms and ammunition.
This morning, officials say they arrested 41-year-old Shenghua Wen, a Chinese national who came to the U.S. in 2012 on a student visa and overstayed it. He then allegedly bought a Texas-based company with a federal firearms license and started buying guns and ammunition. Inside Wen's home in Ontario, officials say they found military technology, including a chemical threat identification and eavesdropping devices intended for North Korea.
The North Korean officials sent Mr. Wen at least $2 million to pay for obtaining these materials and also to pay for the shipping costs.
Officials did not say how Wen got his hands on the military technology, nor did they address how Wen was able to continue to stay in the U.S. illegally.
Not only did the investigative team prevent additional restricted items from going to the North Korean regime, but they gathered valuable intelligence for the United States and all of our allies.
There's no telling what additional damage Mr. Wen could have committed if not for the intervention of law enforcement.
She tried her best. The Dededo mother, sentenced to 3 years in prison in connection to the death of her baby boy, was emotional both inside and outside of the courtroom.
Yeah, this was a tough one for many that was actually there during sentencing. Defendant Gilton and Ramamu briefly speaking with KUAM after learning her fate in the Superior Court. A grieving mother convicted of negligent homicide and child abuse.
I miss him so.
Defendant Gilton and Ramongmu was in tears moments after being sentenced to serve 3 years in prison for her conviction. The Dededo mother stands accused in the death of her 1-year-old baby boy, Pablo.
I'm not a baby killer. I love all my kids.
The case unfolded more than a year ago after the child was found lifeless inside the couple's Dededo home. Ramongmu was arrested along with the child's father, Paul Cruz. Both were prosecuted separately. During sentencing this week, prosecutor Kathleen O'Neill argued Ramongmu served the max 10 years in prison, stating the child's body was abnormally skinny, his head was swollen with red and brown bruising, his eyes were dark red and swollen shut. This child suffered. O'Neill adding she has never taken responsibility for Pablo's condition at the time of his death and after his death and the cause of his death. Anything less would depreciate the seriousness of this case and, quite frankly, that young child's death and suffering. Defense attorney William Bischoff contends his client did her best to take care of her children, including Pablo. Bischoff telling the court she's heartbroken about what happened. She's a nice girl. She just tried too hard to do this on her own without reaching out sooner. Inside the courthouse, Giltonen wore a t-shirt with Pablo's photo. She pleaded for leniency, stating, "Everybody thinks that I hurt him. I didn't hurt him. It hurts that I'm being called a baby killer and all these things, but nobody was there. I took care of my kids. I gave birth to them on my own. I tried my best to be there for them, but everybody wants to put me down. Never once did I not try to think about my children or Pablo." Romangmu was allowed to walk free after her sentencing, leaving this message to those who currently are caring for her living children.
I just want to thank all the foster parents that have all my children. Thank you for opening your hearts and caring for my babies. Please help them for me, especially this holiday.
Romangmu is set to self-surrender on January 27th. The man indicted in the deadly stabbing of his cousin wants to get out of prison. Defense for Isaac Gertemag is requesting he be released to a third-party custodian and be placed under electronic monitoring. Magistrate Judge Jonathan Kwan told parties those measures would need to be in place before the court considers releasing Gertemag. He is scheduled to appear back in court on January 3rd. As KUAM reported, it was last December when the victim, identified as Mike Tithin, was found lifeless behind a home along Route 15 in Manilao. Gertemag allegedly telling police his cousin threatened to shoot him, adding he got a knife to defend himself. Investigators say the deadly stabbing was fueled by alcohol. Up next, details on a program to keep kids busy during the holiday break.
Plus, the celebration continues for a local restaurant serving up serious food. You're watching KUAM.
This holiday season begins at Kmart, where every aisle is filled with magic. Discover the perfect toy that sparks joy and gifts that bring smiles. Kmart has all the ingredients you need to make your family traditions special without breaking the bank. From trimming the tree to filling your home with holiday cheer, you'll find it all in one place. Discover the magic waiting for you at Kmart, where busy families find everything they need to make memories that last a lifetime. Kmart. For the holidays, for the family, for the magic.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
I could feel it, I won't come down. I could see it with all that.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill. What's for lunch and for dinner? You want something good? Yeah, man, serious food. Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill. What's for lunch and for dinner? You want something good? Yeah, man, serious food. Happy birthday, D-I-R-F-D-A-Y. Happy birthday, Jamaican grill. Yeah, man, serious food.
Welcome back to Primetime. Guam is serving as the host island for the annual Pacific Island Association of Libraries, Archives, and Museums Conference.
Nevaeh Anderson brings us to the Guam Museum, where talks are ongoing, all in the spirit of preserving indigenous culture and values.
The annual Pacific Islands Association of Libraries, Archives, and Museums Conference, or PIALA, is taking place here at the Guam Museum in Hagåtña, Guam. For over 33 years, PIALA members have continued to be advocates and representatives for preserving indigenous Pacific Islander culture and values in a rapidly advancing world.
Erlinda Napati is the president of PIALA.
The importance of having the PIALA conference continuance is because it's a way for our people to share their rich culture, their language, and their traditions. And it is, as an institution of the Library, Archives, and Museum, we are entrusted as the not gatekeepers, but as guardians for these institutions.
The theme, Indigenous Libraries, Archives, and Museums in the Pacific.
Why indigenizing is important? It's because of our people. If we don't do it, then who will do it?
Naputi digs deeper into the issue of expanding cultural resources.
Having our culture, and most especially our language, and the history, the rich history that we have in each of our respective islands in the Micronesia is unique, and it is very important to try and preserve as much as we can.
Cultural preservation and education is key. Naputi using the Ladi stones that remain at the Bishop Museum in Honolulu as one example. Her husband Martin and a few representatives from the Marianas discovered the artifacts in disarray behind the museum more than 2 years ago.
The importance of bringing them home not only is the fact that it was illegally taken, but the importance of bringing it home is for our people to have closure. Our people to have closure and have what is rightfully ours back to our home islands.
The Piala Conference is happening here at the Guam Museum from December 2nd to December 6th. Local artisans are also on site, so be sure to get over here and do some Christmas shopping. I'm Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
Thanks, Nevaeh. Well, all week long, we are celebrating 30 years of Jamaican Grill serving up yaman serious food on island.
The week ending with a big party Sunday, December 8th at their very first location down at the Chamorro Village in Hagåtña. Jonah Gonçalves takes a look at how the restaurant supports the very ones who support them, the community.
I'm sure many of you at one time or another have purchased a food plate from Jamaican Grill to support a school, a sports team, or even medical fundraiser.
We found out pretty quickly that fundraising is already part of the local Chamorro culture.
Jamaican Grill co-founder Frank Kenny realized that people would wake up early in the morning and cook and prep food plates in the back kitchen for fundraiser food plates. It was then when he thought, how could we make it easier for these people to fundraise?
Why don't we just package a smaller plate and drop our price points on it, so that way the consumer, the fundraising client, can then buy these discounted plates from us, mark it up, and make money for their various fundraising causes.
Kenny says that it took off, doing fundraisers for as little as 50 plates to over 1,000 food plates. Shortly after, they thought about another concept, something that would not require as much logistics and communication.
Like, how are we going to make it easier? So we're like, let's come up with coupons and just sell coupons. And then that way people, our fundraising clients, can take these coupons and sell it to their network of people for their various fundraising needs, so that they can raise money for their cause. And that one's really taken off as well.
The best part? The coupons can be used at all 4 locations at any time for dine-in or takeout. Kenny says that Jamaican Grill is actively involved in the community as a way of giving back and saying thank you for the continuous support they've given them. But it's also an opportunity to have fun with the island community. Whenever possible, you'll see the jerk chicken and jerk man at village festivals and even on the Liberation Parade route, waving and taking photos.
I donned it myself before I asked anybody to do it. I put that jerk chicken mascot on and went to that Paseo Stadium baseball park on a Friday night and gave out plates. And again, just another goodwill cause.
And you can definitely say hi to them, as they'll be at the 30th birthday on Sunday at the Chamorro Village from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Jonah Gonçalves, KUAM News.
In the spirit of Giving Tuesday, which we all celebrated yesterday, the Guam Police Department is continuing to do their part for the community through their Project U program.
Launched in October of 2020, Project U reaches out to Guam's youth and sets them up with tools they'll use for life. Nevaeh Anderson brings us the story.
The Guam Police Department is back with their Christmas break program. A part of GPD's Safe Schools initiative, Project U collaborates with government and nonprofit organizations to steer Guam's youth in the right direction. Detective Susie Santos, Project U's program coordinator, shares the focus of this year's Christmas break program.
For the Christmas program, our focus is giving back to the community. So this year, we're collaborating with the Department of Parks and Recreation and the park that we're looking to just beautify would be Paseo. First and foremost, we wanted to see something that we can accomplish and finish, because the program for Christmas break is for 2 weeks.
An integral part of the program's success has been the continuous participation of the Guam Contractors Association Trades Academy. Elizabeth Aguero, the Assistant Education Director for the Trades Academy, speaks to the partnership.
We've been working hand in hand with Guam Police Department with their Project U program on both summer and Christmas break. At the end of the program, their students get their certificates for completing the Project U program, but they also get a certificate because they completed our basic safety program, which is also equivalent to a 10-hour OSHA card.
Continuously evolving to meet the needs of Guam's youth, Project U teaches the skills and tools that they will use for life.
But what we want to do, at least for programs like Project U, we want to instill decision making. We want them to step back and think about the decisions, make them and teach them to learn to weigh out the decisions and the consequences that may come with that.
And a lot of them, especially the ones that graduated from high school taking these programs, have done pretty successful things, and they're working, they're doing things for themselves and their families, so that's what we're looking for at the end of the day.
Project U's Christmas Break program will be taking place from December 23rd to January 3rd. If you would like to enroll your children ages 14 to 17 in Project U over the break, email projectuguam@gmail.com or call 671-475-8554. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
Now for a look at your world at home.
Here's a view captured from the shore behind Career Tech High Academy Charter School in Hagen.
Gumasihek.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Ching-a-ling-a-ling, ching-ching. Well, it's fine and good, it's gold money, the old tomorrow way. Fine and good, it's gold money, the old tomorrow. We'll do it one more time.
Daiso Guam, located in the village of Donkey, Japan's largest dollar store, is now on Guam. Visit us today for quality living essentials. Most items are just $1.75. We carry a variety of kitchen essentials, $1.75. Storage containers, $1.75. Tableware, $1.75. Party supplies, $1.75. Tools, stationery, DIY crafts, $1.75. Travel bags, $1.75. Floral supplies, and so much more. Our friendly Daiso associates are ready to serve you. Open daily from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Follow us at Daiso Guam for more information. Shop and save at Daiso.
How deep do Pizza Hut's roots run in the islands? Through all the decades, we know what you love. Great taste at an even better price. Like our large one-topping carry-out pizza for just $15.99. You choose your favorite topping, pepperoni, olives, sausage, or any other single topping. Our $15.99 large one-topping pizza. Order online and carry one out today. Only at Pizza Hut, the island's best.
This holiday, would you rather buy this TV or get one for free? For a limited time only, bring home a free 43-inch Samsung Smart TV when you sign up on Link with DTV Plus today. Just imagine your favorite movies, shows, and more, all in stunning quality on your brand new screen. Visit DocomoPacific.com or see us in store to learn more. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Calvo Select Care's comprehensive medical provider network offers our members choice and access to quality facilities locally in Asia, Hawaii, and the continental United States. We provide our members several wellness programs and healthy options to improve their overall health status. Calvo Select Care, healthcare that's always there for you. Federal employees and annuitants, enroll today.
Tangy pickles, slivered onions, tender pork covered in our delicious barbecue sauce, and topped on a home-style bun. Behold, the McRib. It's not just a sandwich, it's an experience altogether. The McRib returns. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
There is a big holiday bazaar happening up in Dededo because I'm from Dededo and that's how we do things. We go big. It's a big village and we want to celebrate and share the Christmas spirit with you. Please come by because it's on December 14th from 11 to 4. Get your Christmas shopping in and support local vendors. It's at the Senior Center. You are going to have an absolute blast. Viva Dededo. All right. Support Agata Johnson Middle School on the other side of the island. That's over in Orda Talampago because their student body association is having a Christmas lights and bites happening at Skinner Plaza on the 5th, 12th, and 19th. There are several food trucks and make sure to go there and support the home of the Pirates. And Ukadu High, getting back to Dededo, is having a Christmas celebration of their own. They have That's Christmas to Me. It's their choir concert featuring Dolce Primavera. That's on December 7th. So make sure to get your tickets for that. Christmas in the air all over the island, all 30 villages.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Now for your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts,
which you can submit on KUAM.com.
We love celebrating people here on the birthday shoutouts, everybody. So happy birthday to a friend of us here at KUM, Christine Camacho Farron, a friend to the forest. So you know what? Make Christine's birthday today. Give her a birthday present, everybody. Take care of our forest. Take care of the trees. Christine's going to appreciate it. Chris, we hope you have an absolutely fantastic birthday from all of your friends here at KUM. And then equally awesome, Joshua Leon Guerrero, who has happy belated birthday. Best wishes to you, Joshua, from your family and friends, which includes Cold Stone Creamery and, again, us here at KUM. We hope that both of you had amazing days today.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all of you celebrating out there today. That's your primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a safe evening and stay beautiful.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
Welcome to this week's episode of The Hub. I'm Nick Delgado. A son of Guam takes the world stage in the Netherlands, championing voices in the Pacific in a historic fight for climate justice at the Peace Palace. Human rights lawyer Julian Uggen and his firm Blue Ocean Law presenting a powerful case to the International Court of Justice. Here's his speech.
Mr. President, I respectfully request that you now call Mr. Julian Uggen to the podium. I thank you.
I thank Mr. Killaway. I now give the floor to Mr. Julian Uggen. You have the floor, sir.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, members of the court. The right to self-determination is a cornerstone of the international legal order. This court has characterized self-determination as both an essential principle of contemporary international law and as a fundamental human right with a broad scope of application. Its realization is, to quote the UN Human Rights Committee, an essential condition for the effective guarantee and observance of individual human rights and for the promotion and strengthening of those rights. The right to self-determination gives rise to obligations of an erga omnes character. The right is also widely recognized as a peremptory norm of international law. Self-determination guarantees the right of all peoples to freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. It also encompasses their rights to maintain their territorial integrity and permanent sovereignty over their natural resources. Yet, the conduct responsible for climate change has already infringed on the right to self-determination for the many peoples of Melanesia. Over time and generations, the peoples of Melanesia have self-determined, developing sophisticated systems of governance, economies, cultures, and cosmologies, grounded in the intimate relationship between each people and their place. The well-established adverse effects of climate change have caused a total collapse of these self-determined ways of life. Melanesian peoples have already suffered forced dislocations from their traditional territories, loss of natural resources essential for both cultural and physical subsistence, breakdown of political systems and means of self-governance, and rupture of relationships to the cosmos. In short, they have lost nearly everything that has, since time immemorial, formed their very essence as peoples. In its written submissions, MSG has cataloged these horrors in great detail by way of testimonies collected from communities across Melanesia, including, but not limited to, the Uwara tribe of New Caledonia, the people of Veribari village in Papua New Guinea, the villagers of Vuni Dongaloa, Fiji, the people of Malaita province, Solomon Islands, and the people of Yakel village, Vanuatu. These testimonies unequivocally demonstrate that the conduct responsible for climate change has already caused grievous violations of the right to self-determination of peoples across this subregion. The same is true at the level of sovereign states. In Vanuatu, for instance, unrelenting natural disasters have flung the nation into a near constant state of emergency. This Sisyphean task of responding to climate disasters has left the country simply unable to pursue its aspirations for sustainable development and has forced the government to take on substantial debt, thereby inducing dependency. These constraints, together with the degradation and destruction of the nation's natural resources, sharply curtail Vanuatu's ability to self-govern and freely determine its economic, social, and cultural development. Worse is yet to come. Rising sea levels are projected to submerge the entire territory of certain small island states, possibly within decades. This would inhibit the sovereignty of these states and thus the right of the affected peoples to fully enjoy their self-determined political status. It would also force the dispersal of peoples from their ancestral homelands, undermining their right to exist as integral peoples within their own territory, which this court stated in its most recent advisory opinion on the occupied Palestinian territory is protected by the right to self-determination. For the peoples of Melanesia, whose very existence as peoples is fused with their ancestral territories, this would be tantamount to collective death. No participant in these proceedings has disputed these facts. However, one has argued that these harms do not implicate individual state obligations. Another has contended that the right of self-determination was not designed to address climate change. These arguments miss the point. While the right to self-determination has a clear normative core, that is, the right of peoples to determine their own fate, This does not make it a static norm. In fact, the opposite is true, as preserving that core requires the application of the norm in factual situations where that right is most at risk. Indeed, the conduct at issue in this case profoundly undermines the most core aspects of the self-determination right. All states are obligated to respect the right to self-determination by refraining from any conduct that infringes on the right. The conduct at issue in this case has caused violations of the right to self-determination, violations which were foreseeable. States engaged in this conduct have thus breached their obligations to respect the right to self-determination, triggering distinct legal consequences. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, members of the court, this matter strikes at the very heart of international law. Self-determination enjoys more liberatory heft than any other single norm of international law. Yet, the reality is that the conduct of a handful of states has caused severe, systemic, and sustained violations of this right. The legal framework is robust, but still requires your affirmation to translate principles into practice. We urge this court to reaffirm the rule of law and protect the right of all peoples to self-determination. In closing, throughout these proceedings, we have taken great care to accurately describe the peoples and cultures of Melanesia, even though we are aware that most aspects of those same cultures are difficult to translate into any of the languages officially recognized by this court. But we have done so because as surely as these peoples deserve to live in the world on their own terms, so too do they deserve to be heard here. The peoples of Melanesia live exceptionally close to the earth and thus feel the vandalism visited upon it acutely. Moreover, theirs represents living, breathing, alternative imaginations, imaginations other than the one that has brought this planet to the brink of ecological collapse, thus ensuring they are able to live and thrive in their ancestral spaces is of the utmost importance, and not only for themselves, but for all of humanity. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, members of the court, thank you for your attention.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express, fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
You're watching The Hub. The inauguration for the 38th Guam legislature is right around the corner. Tonight we speak with one of the newly elected senators who will take over as chairman of the Committee on Public Safety, Sean Gumatauto.
First off, I want to thank all the viewers and electorate out there for kind of listening to these engagements on the Hub and making a decision, and Guam voted differently for a change. And that's also the approach to the committee structure for the Guam legislature. I'm very excited about that opportunity. In my new role, it's kind of doing things that, to help complement the effort for the last 4 years, I've been supporting the Center for Homeland Defense and Security in Hawaii and the region. And here's an opportunity for me to take the experiences I've been able to help with, either whether it's FEMA Region 9 or the respective states and territories inside Region 9, to bring all that preparedness, first responder types of activities I've been doing for the last 4 years, a little known factoid, but being able to bring that to bear upon this particular new role in the Guam legislature.
No, that's something that's very vital for us, because tensions continue to increase in the region and with countries that are enemies of the U.S. And so big shoes to fill there.
Right.
But I want to focus on public safety,
Sure.
because the question that's always asked whenever we meet with our elected officials is, do you feel Guam is safe?
And the answer, I believe, as a resident of Talofofo, and I would say I'm a little uneasy at night when I go to bed. And I think many people in my village in southern Guam and all throughout the island feel that same way. We know that our community is having issues. A lot of it's fueled by drug use or drug abuse and opportunity. With those things happening, it's really exacerbating the problems that we face as a community relative to crime. And so my plan is to work directly with the agencies, and it's taking a little bit different tack, Nick. It's to look at the policies that they need to be better able to do their jobs. Now, yes, we know there's perennial problems with funding. We know there's perennial problems with equipment. But the one thing that is not looked at close enough, Nick, is the policies that they need to be able to do their job better. And that's what I'm going to be spending most of my term on, is trying to get with them, work with the Attorney General, and maybe looking at how we can use the lawyers of government, the government of Guam, to bear upon these agencies, help them create those policies, because we can't do it alone, and to engage the community in a better way so that we can get our community to this position or being safe that I think most of us are probably accustomed to.
Okay. So, do you feel Guam is safer?
I think that right now it's tough to say, and unfortunately it's not. And we got to do something, and we got to do it pretty quick.
Okay. What are your priorities? First, let's start with the Guam Police Department, because whenever we hear of the Guam Police Department, we're continuously talking about giving them more cars, more officers out on the beat. Is that a priority for you when it comes to GPD?
Sure, and I think that it would be silly for me to say no, it's not. But also to keep them. Now, one of the things that would be key is what can we do to keep them at GPD? Now that we've increased law enforcement salaries across the board, across all government law enforcement, they're equal. They're not set apart from one another. And so I'm going to work toward the end of the term to be able to, how do we identify maybe a means, either some kind of premium pay for the Guam Police Department, because they handle things that Department of Corrections officers don't handle, that the fire department doesn't handle, that you can even take it down to Port Police or the park rangers. They handle a different set of circumstances in our society, and they need to be compensated for that. I think that would be key. And I'm already working with my team looking at maybe insurance and life insurance for our law enforcement. Can it be different for law enforcement folks, especially those who are on the streets today? They risk their lives when they leave and kiss their families goodbye in the morning, and there's a strong chance they cannot come home. Obviously, in our society, we're praying that does not happen, but we need to do something to make it different for our law enforcement people that would be different than the rest of the GovGuam employee. Again, they're going into harm's way almost every day when they go to work. So looking at those types of opportunities. And how do we pay for it? We have a whole bunch of different funding sources as well. But I think for GPD, that might be the first two steps, if you will.
Different in the sense of additional pay, like hazardous pay, or?
No, not at all. I mean, yes, of course they have hazard pay, but it's going to be on top of that. For saying I'm going to go to work for GPD, these police officer 1 and 2s who are on the streets will get a different pay or a boost in their pay because they're doing that role. Now, it's not reducing, in my opinion, it doesn't reduce from a policy point of view the roles of the other response agencies, the first responders. No, that's not what I'm saying. it's how do we keep people at GPD? I mean, there's attractive offers in other branches of government, okay, the judiciary, the federal government, off island. And if they say, well, I just did the academy, I'm done, but they see that, it's not for me, I'm going to go do something else. And so we want to be able to keep them. And I think that's going to be the key. I mean, obviously, I think there's, there's other general orders that need to be taken care of. And I think that it's the role of the legislature to provide that support to them. Maybe it's that facilitator between them and the Attorney General to get that kind of support so that the chief can, and the rest of his team can look at those policies. And that has to be done.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Taco Bell Cantina chicken burrito?
What do you need that for?
Chicken doesn't have to be flavorless, I guess.
Here we go.
It can be tender and slow roasted.
Slow roasted? That sounds lazy to me.
The holidays can be a tough time for the modern chicken eater.
A burrito on what could be Gam Gam's last holiday?
What'd she say?
But don't worry, there's hope for every family. Cantina chicken is winning hearts and mouths across the country. Because a future this delicious can't be ignored for long.
Put it down.
Forgive me, Gam Gam.
A new era of chicken is here to stay.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort, Guam.
So the second biggest issue I would see under public safety is the Department of Corrections. I'm sure even during your time in news or even when you were working for the administration, overcrowding.
Right.
The headline doesn't change.
Right.
So how do you foresee addressing that from a policy level?
I mean, I'm watching what's happening currently between the Director of Corrections and the AG, and a lot of it has to do with the adjudication of crime. So what do we do? And we're going to have to find a solution sooner than later. Does it mean deportation of non-U.S. citizens in our system? Obviously, that has to be considered. Do we look at, I know they want to build a prison.
A new one, yeah.
But, I mean, with that comes at a great cost. Is that the priority of the government when the rest of the economy is in a pretty bad way, when our hospital is in a worse way, and our school system is having issues? So we definitely got to prioritize it. Or is it, is there expansion? Is there some kind of, we have to work with the judiciary? But something's got to be done, and it cannot be done in one place. It's got to be done across and with a lot of people's interaction.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up the hospital. I will ask that a little bit down the line. But our fire department, you did bring them up. What is your priority with assisting them once in office?
Well, I was watching the recent confirmation hearing of a new fire chief, and I think that from an equipment point of view, there are ways that we can keep, in this case, ambulances on the road. We might want to consider the use of they have a flame fund to maybe use to help set that aside, and maybe use a municipal lease to keep 4 or 5 ambulances on at any given time. Because the federal funds, Nick, are going to continue to come in, and the Office of the Governor is going to say, sure, let's get another ambulance. But that only solves it to that when it gets here, and then what? 1 year, 2 years. This is an issue we were having when I was working in the governor's office, and it's just not working. And we have to look at maybe ensuring that is the technology being used by the ambulances today, are those the right ones for this community, for this roadway, for our terrain? I know there's been so many different considerations. Obviously, that's going to come at a cost.
Yeah.
But we got to keep these important life-saving equipments on the road, but doing it in a way that it's going to help the mission of GFD.
Save lives.
Absolutely. But also, if it's something that's going to be using a small business that's going to end up providing this, call it the ambulance, as part of that lease, it could be quite a pretty good deal for them and for all of us. But they got to work together, and maybe municipal lease is one solution for this problem.
Yeah, I know they've been relying also whenever they have ambulances that are down on mutual aid with the federal partners.
Yeah, but mutual aid is only good when you can provide it too. So it's great that we have the agreement, but there's times when even the military might need our help. But then when they call on us and we can't provide, how great of a deal is that? It's not.
That's true.
So we have to do a better job as a government to provide that support to GFD, especially when it comes to these important things like the mutual aid agreements. And we need to do it with equipment that's going to stay on the road and keep people safe and get them to where they need to be, save a life.
Before moving on to other topics, Sean, I just still want to ask,
sure. As
the incoming chair for public safety, is there anything else that you want to prioritize that the community should know?
I think right now that that's pretty much it. I think that the approach that the 38th Guam legislature is going to take is going to be different, and I'm really excited about the kind of interaction that we're going to be getting from not just the senators themselves, but it's going to be from the community. I committed to everyone, and I've been talking about it throughout the last couple months, and I'm going to do it as a lawmaker. It's just going to be a better listener, and to try to find the ways and the solutions, because we don't have all the answers. I'm not a police officer, I'm not a firefighter, I'm not a corrections officer. There's some great people that do that work, and we got to work with them, hear what their needs are, and find ways. We just can't keep saying, no, I can't do it. That's not a solution. We got to provide common sense solutions to the important issues that we face each and every day.
Emergency management is the other committee? Is that what it is?
Yes.
We recently got a first of its kind Virginia-class attack submarine, first time coming to Guam. Before it's the Los Angeles class. We see both the Air Force, the Marines doing what they can to ramp up as well their security posture for the region. How do you think that might benefit Guam whenever responding, or I guess defending what they call the tip of the spear?
Well, I think from a homeland defense point of view, I think that that by having these type of assets forward deployed is absolutely a show to our adversaries in the region that, hey, we are going to protect the Americans who live here in the U.S. territory. I'm excited for that. And I think that what I'm also more excited about is I'm hearing that the Admiral is going to try to engage more meetings with the community. And I'm hoping that our speaker will be allowed on to regular meetings with the governor, that if there's something that they're facing inside the fence that they might need help with, that they can easily say, hey, not pick up a phone, but at least say, hey, these are the issues, and present it so that the 38th Guam legislature can offer up that legislative fix. Believe it or not, Nick, there's a lot of policies out there that maybe could hamper the ability of the federal government to do its work outside the fence. And so whatever that is, it sounds crazy because it's a federal asset, but we got to be able to listen and find ways to help them. And again, with the threats in China and Korea, we are all watching it, and I think that we got to provide those resources to our first responders and our law enforcement agencies to make sure that what's happening here is that we have an eyeball on it. And I think we have plenty of support. We just got to make sure that we're on top of our game, because we do not want to be caught with our, with our pants down, if you will, and not prepared. We have to keep that front and center for all of us.
The Hub is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam. Is brought to you by Docomo Pacific Business and Leo Palace Resort Guam.
Now revisiting the topic of the hospital, the new hospital.
Okay.
Your response already says volumes, but Condemning land is something that's been an issue with especially the landowners,
Yes.
and now the public is scrutinizing it itself. We asked the governor this week, do you plan to condemn more land in your final years in office? And she says she never plans to do this, but it's happening, and it's happening for this new hospital. As the incoming senator, this will be happening under your watch. What are your thoughts?
So I've said it, and I support a hospital in Tumuning. I think the amount of infrastructure improvements over the last 30 years has shown a commitment by this government that that area is vitally important to keeping our island going. Yes, the governor has chosen to put a hospital in central Guam. Now, I committed to her that, yes, if that's your choice, Governor, yeah, I'm not going to stand in the way. I'll do my best to support. How? I think policy-wise, I think we got to all look at the end of the day, the condemnation of land is not something that is taken lightly. Don't think we haven't done that in the past. Are they employing the Uniform Relocation Act to ensure that people who live there in those areas, are they being taken care of? It's not just, here's a pot of money, but you're going to have to relocate them. And that federal law is very clear, and plus you're using federal resources. And also to work with the Power and Water Authority. The sheer amount of money to put that into that area is going to be significant. Yes, it can help GPA, GWA, because they're right across the street, right? That's their main headquarters. Does it help with their in their plans, you know, for administering utilities? It might. So there can be a synergy between the two. Yeah, I'll sit with the governor to see if that's going to work. But then also said that if we do that, then we need to work with the community in Mingilao and find ways to grow the economy in that general area. If you're going to take lands, if you're going to for roads or for hospital footprint, how does the community benefit from that in Mingilao? Are you going to add commercial centers? Are you going to allow tax breaks for those businesses that will come there and set up shop next to it? There's got to be, it just can't be a singular, you know, view of just, okay, I'm just putting a hospital. And is that footprint going to be bigger or smaller? I think we've got to consider that too.
Okay. All right. All good topics and suggestions. We look forward to seeing that dialogue with you guys at the legislature and the administration in the upcoming year, especially as the community has set a high bar for you guys that are the newcomers.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but you know, they voted for that change.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to bring all the experiences I got to bear upon this and going to give it 100%. I think that this community is you know, not expecting me to do any less than that.